I don't think Justice League Dark Apokolips War is a disaster. However, I don't think it's a great movie. It's amazing in certain scenes, but sort of drops in the consistency. With DC's new Justice League Dark Apokolips War, I decided to go out and see what it had to offer. To all those worried about spoilers for the movie, the first part of this video won't go into specifics about the plot, and I won't go into any visuals that will harm anyone's experience. I will be talking about the story later on to illustrate my points, but I will make it very clear when I want to do so. But before we do so, just before you rant in the comments and say why I'm wrong and why you love this movie, just know this is my opinion and let me know yours, okay? Justice League Dark is like a combination of all the recent movies prior, and feels like a sequel to Justice League War. There are many similarities with that film and this film, but I digress. Let's take the Flashpoint Paradox animated film of 2013. Now, Flashpoint Paradox was a great movie, however, I did not absolutely love it as others did, and that's just me. I generally wasn't a Flash fan. However, I still watched it because there were several hits and sequels after it, and I didn't want to watch the previous movies afterward or read the comics. And well, okay, the first ever animated DC film I watched was A Killing Joke. Having heard it be an R-rated film, I was intrigued as to how much darker and interesting the story would be, and I thought it would be a nice adaptation of the comic. You know, taking a few things away, adding some things, nothing major, so I could still follow along with the animated storyline and the major points that happened in the comic. And I left the movie so confused and desperate to pick up on what adaptation I was watching, so I read the comic. However, let's compare it with Flashpoint. The whole cast is carefully adapted, and each have a place in the story. Characters are so well grown and evolve over time. There's setup, payoff, and great fight scenes, something DC films just always got right for me. There's thought put into why things are happening and how to move forward, and I love this film. So after hearing about Justice League Dark being sorta dark, I kinda liked it. I was intrigued if it could live up to its predecessors, but have much more interesting and darker scenes. However, compared to Flashpoint, it's not as good and sort of breaks off. But as a movie on its own, I'd say it's not a bad film to put your money into, as the fight scenes are pretty good and just really good to watch. Not as good as Flashpoint again, but as a standalone movie without comparing it to others, it's nice. The plot. Justice League Dark is, as I said before, sort of a combination of all these movies and appears to be the final round between our heroes and the articulated hunk of booty we know as Darkseid. The movie begins with John Constantine and Zatina building their love already, and it zooms away to show that they're in the Watchtower. To be honest, it's not bad already, and I like the way they introduced our protagonist too. However, some of the problems do arise up, like characters acting out of place such as Superman. Him acting with a one-track mind because of his raw emotions was pretty nice, as we haven't seen a character like him do something like this in recent media, but I don't think it fits in story-wise.
This is madness! There's always a deal to be made. Let's at least send an envoy to Apokolips. No!
Darkseid created a monster that nearly killed me. What chance would humanity have?
Correction, Clark. You did get killed. Hell, if it wasn't for the revitalization process, you wouldn't be here. Alright. And just like that, our heroes are about to attack. Also, since when was Cyborg vulnerable to the Mother Box? I remember in Justice League War there might have been a dialogue, but I don't recall it being brought up ever again. And this is never brought up again. And this is the whole crux as to why the Justice League failed, and it's ignored completely. Then a time skip. And I immediately lost interest. I really wanted to see how they fought and what would happen in the chaos, but no. Then we see a green-eyed Superman ask Constantine to find Damien. And it's not bad of a premise. And Constantine asks him to tell him everything that happened in the fight that he was a part of. Okay. And right off the bat, our hero's booty was slapped harder than I could ever fathom. Green Lantern dies in a still frame. Barry looking to be dead. Aquaman shredded by Darkseid Omega beams. Martian Manhunter, man of few words, burns in flames. Cyborg helps Shazam escape like an absolute MVP, and this happens in 16 minutes. This movie gives you a scoop of edgy with some shock value sprinkles. As it's revealed, Constantine left the fight after he watched Zatanna get killed. Then Batman is evil. Boo. But let's be honest, he always comes back as good in the end. And I really like that they apparently modeled his suit like the Hellbat suit from the Robin Rises comic. I just think that's a cool addition and sort of fits the context well. And as if things didn't get worse, the Teen Titans and their allies get slaughtered too. It's not like we see the fight and the dramatic music swells in the room around you, and then you realize our heroes are doomed. Nope. Dick Grayson killed. I'm not really attached to much of these characters at this point. However, just to be edgy, he's not just dead, he's insane. However, his death left more of an impact on me than others because we get to see his last moments. Saving his bro.
There are always risks in war, he said. He's not saying that anymore.
The plan is to attack the towers and blow up Apokolips. Aye. And we get to see what's left of the characters that are still alive, like Shazam. When I first saw Shazam, I was hoping he'd have an important role to play in the film, since, he survived the attack. I digress. I wasn't much of a Green Lantern fan, however I did have a favorite, and I was hoping he didn't... Really? Really? I'm sorry because I didn't know who that Green Lantern was. However, this scene did get me as I was hoping he would just go out in a clean fashion. I also like that Suicide Squad is here and that they make a reference to Amanda Waller dying of cancer. It's a nice flashback to Suicide Squad Hell to Pay when Deadshot tricked her in the end with that card that, spoilers, didn't let her go to heaven. The plot's pretty big, so I won't go into it. Wait a minute. If Harley Quinn's still alive, and Captain Boomerang's still here, that means that Deadshot is...
What you say? That you only meant well, cause you did. What you say? That it's all for the best, cause it is. What you say? That it's just what we need. You decided this. What you say? What did she say?
Oh well. Maybe not everyone deserved to be here. The only flaw I see in their character is the timing in which they come in to murder people and in which they came to fit in the plot. I still found it funny, but it felt a bit misplaced. And it's this consistency that really got me, all these characters being remembered for this final debut. Anywho, when they got to the generator room, one of the big twists was that Flash was being the generator making energy, and the way they presented it and connecting it with Flashpoint is really cool and handled well. Cut back to those at Lex Luthor's camp, and Bane gets killed. Shortly after, Black Manta. Bruh, this feels like the cherry on the edgy cream sundae. The reveal with Cyborg being the brains behind it all was sorta cool. Then B-Man and Darkseid come in. Then Batman starts monologuing and it's a good scene. But wait, don't the characters realize that those under Darkseid don't respond reasonably? I mean, aside from that, they took that way seriously, but aside from that, this one scene is okay. But the fight between Damian and Batman was really well done. And then the scene with the eye changing color was pretty good too. Definitely could have been done better, but at this point, I was all into it.
Go to hell. They see me rolling, they hate it.
Total badass.
You disappoint me.
What? Why? Batman's dodged Darkseid's Omega Beams before. Why did you do that? Oh wait. But the death was set up and paid off good, so I got past that one. However, I finally felt like the plot was getting serious at this moment when Trigon was set free. Possesses Superman and goes all big and bad, and I was really intrigued as to see where the story was going next. It's been less than 2 minutes since a character died, come on! But the rhythm was got back rather quickly, as I kinda liked the Darkseid Trigon fight. I also liked that the death sort of made a lasting impact on Batman. But Lois's death feels immediate, like the time gap was so much, and she decides to broadcast now? But this all plays into the next scene of Superman's return, and boy, was it awesome.
And now to deal with you.
I thoroughly enjoyed this fight, but then it goes back to Constantine and we get an explanation for why he left in the beginning. Turns out, he was Batman's contingency plan. Should the attack go wrong, so Zatanna put a spell on him to make him run at that time. Then boom, back to life because of some Destiny stuff. I don't know, man, I didn't really listen. And Robin's back to life too. Cyborg boom tubes them, leaving Darkseid and Trigon to fight in another dimension. I don't know, man, I'm sorry. And the heroes are back. However, our heroes are still doomed.
Even though the Planet Reapers were stopped before they finished, the damage was done.
How bad?
We lost 31% of the Earth's molten core.
Wait, what? Come on!
The planet's rotation is compromised.
Then have Wonder Woman and Supes bring it back into orbit, like in the comics. I don't know. So Flash and Constantine agree that the only solution is another Flashpoint. And I was hoping for something, but when the credits hit, I felt nothing. Movies for me tend to have a different impact that other medias don't really give, and that's a moral or a sort of lesson, but it's generally something to take away. Flashpoint's zone was to focus on the future, rather than to try and lament to fix the past. But this, I'm not sure.